Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we are doing a pretty exciting one. It's a sketchbook flip through of one of my all-time favourite sketchbooks. So when I made this sketchbook, and I have a video about that, I'll link it below, I was thinking about kind of the things that I would need in a sketchbook. So I think that's partly why it's been one of my favorites, because I used my favorite Saunders Waterford paper, and I also made it quite thick. So I, put a lot of pages in, and it was just really enjoyable to use, I think, for those reasons. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll go into some of the things that I forgot to mention in the last video about binding it, and then we'll have a little look through some of my other favorite sketchbooks. I also just wanted to say hi. I am sorry that it's been a couple of weeks. You'll see that the first weekend we had a little party that I put some footage at the end, and then last weekend, I'm not sure, just struggling to get everything organised and get the voiceover done. I think that the microphone's been a little bit scratchy, so I have a new one, and it's taken a little while to try and figure that out. I think anytime you kind of change up any part of your system, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So you can see a couple of the sketchbooks there that have been on my desk lately. And yeah, so I will just get into the video. I have really enjoyed this sketchbook, like I said, and I think I highly encourage you to create a sketchbook if you've never tried it before. So I do have a playlist for creating your own like art journals or something like this. And yeah, the front cover, I actually used a piece of handmade paper that we got at it was an art store closing down, New York Art Supply, several years ago, and you can see that I made my sister one matching. So I just really liked the colour of the paper, and I wanted to kind of preserve that in a nice way. So her one had the French link stitch with the Coptic binding, and then I just did my one with the Coptic binding. You can also see that hers didn't have as many pages, and I really chunked my one up because I knew that I wanted to use use it quite a lot. So the ribbon is from Shy Myrtle on Etsy, and she just has beautiful silk ribbons at quite a nice price, like compared to a lot of the other ones on there, or like the hand-dyed ones. They can get quite expensive. So I really like her shop. And then you can see here in the front of the sketchbook, so when I was Coptic binding it, I wanted this page to be able to open, so I put a little bit of the silk ribbon in and bound around there, and I've just got a few things in there, like a little bit of lace, a little bit of wool. This palette, the swatches from this palette, I don't really need them in the palette, so I've just popped them in the front there. And I like having kind of that reference of palettes that I was using at the time, or that I was using in the sketchbook. And then that is a piece of Florentine paper. I think it's like a book end page, probably from another journal. And yeah, so then you kind of open, that's kind of like a hidden little flap in the cover, I guess, and then you open it up to the first page of the actual sketchbook. So I did a Florentine design on this one, which is actually not as difficult as it looks, and if you guys want a tutorial on this, I can happily do that. So yeah, so I did the little tree in the emblem there because I have been thinking about landscapes a lot, and I will show you, the class is on its way, so it shouldn't be too much longer, but like I said, everything just taking a bit of time. So on this page I wanted to explore hills and trees and the pond and put that all in a little frame. I put a chinabresa around the side. I often like to just practice washes on pages and just different ways to do that. You can see I sketched a little branch there. And then on this page I continued the theme. So I've done kind of this kind of thing a few times in different journals, like different sketchbooks, and I'm kind of exploring colour. So I'm looking at the different times of day, the way the light might hit the water, and then you can see I've grabbed this old sketchbook out here to show you when I did the golden branches over the top. There's a sketch that I did in here a few years ago, and it kind of inspired me to, I've been thinking about for a while, how could I incorporate that into pieces, and I really like it, so yeah. So this sketchbook is kind of a cross between just made up like ideas and then places that we've been as well. So this one here is a page where we went to Long Island for the day, and coming home, this was kind of the scene that we saw. We passed a lot of trees, and there were a lot of pink blossom trees. It was in spring, and then we went around and across that bridge. So yeah, and I really always, it's kind of like a little spot, the emblem. They're kind of hidden through the pages. I really like the little sparkle of the silver thread there as well. So this was just a page where I was just practicing roses, just some loose floral roses, and then also colours. So again, my sketchbooks are not places to necessarily like once I've already figured out a certain colour combo, I really like to try and push that and see if there's other things that I can do with it. So like on this page, I really just wanted to explore some of the pinks, watercolours that I make, and just some sparkle in a landscape and some kind of a dreamlike quality. And you can see like the gold cafe chairs there that are again just an outline around the lake. Yeah, there's just a little sketch on this page, and also some colour notes from the mixes that I did for the page before. So it's always interesting trying to kind of, if it's just something that you're making up, you kind of got to think about the colours that might be in that kind of a scene. So this here is a sketch that I did of a tree that's from actually a movie. So it's an old movie with Henry Fonda in it. It's called The Tin Star. So it's a really, really lovely movie, and yeah, this is kind of like the tree that was in town there, I guess. And yes, yeah, so I just sketched that. And one thing that I always like to do is try and improve at sketching bit by bit. So yeah, I'll just take something like that and then work on that. And I won't necessarily translate it into watercolor. I'll just leave it as a sketch and kind of think about it. So this was actually the first thing I did in this sketchbook. It's a watercolor of Mont Saint Michel, and I was using some Earth Mineral Arts watercolors that I'd just gotten. And then on this page, I was practicing kind of some florals that are inspired by, well, I'll talk a little bit about what they're inspired by soon. There's a whole page. Yeah, but I really loved doing those and kind of adding that on. And then this is probably like the second page that I did again back in 2020. I did the emblem in just fountain pen ink. At that stage I was just using like the fountain pen, and then I was just exploring again these colours, the peaches, the sage green, a negative shape for the roses, and then I always liked to put the colour swatches on the page at that stage, which I'm not necessarily doing as much anymore. I will more like write colour notes now. And then this one is again from that time in 2020. I think we did this in one of the Christmas Advent calendars. And on this page, I swatched some watercolors from Xandra, and she has closed down her website, but she still will make you the watercolors. So whenever I show these colors, you guys love them as well. So I will leave her info below. And yeah, they're really, really beautiful, incredibly creamy to use. And then we did the Christmas tree there, which just was nice. I actually did go back in and add a little bit of Perylene Green in for some kind of shadows to make it kind of shading, to make it a little bit, you know, have a little bit more form. And then this is another video we did. So this was a packet of the La Maison du Pastel, the Henri Roche pastels, and they're so beautiful. They would be my favorite pastels. They have like a little bit of tooth to them, and yeah, just the color range is beautiful. And I always love doing people's logos, so I think it's a nice way to explore the kind of you know, whatever supplies you have, and just as a fun way to kind of work with them is to draw the logo of whatever the supply is. So this page on the left I did back in 2020. That was some new pastels that I swatched, and then this is just one that I did recently with just a pastel pencil, just a quick sketch. And you can see the paper on the left is the Saunders Waterford, and the paper on the right is a smoother cotton paper. So I'll explain that after we do the flip through, how I kind of put the signatures together. So some of the signatures have this soft cotton paper. It's not as thick as watercolor paper, so I'll often be careful like what I put on the back of it. You can see also in the corners I will often write a little note of what I'm thinking to, like if I have an idea that I want to put on that page, I'll write a little note, but it doesn't always end up being what's on that page. So this page here, I wanted to just keep a little record, the Constant Pearl. So I did like a little collection of paintings called the Constant Pearl, and I wanted to keep a little record of the different color combos that I used. And I'm also still thinking about that and thinking how I could sort of push that. I really enjoyed doing that, and I think it's a really nice kind of message that you are precious and that you're constantly precious. So it's still something that I'm thinking about, which I like to keep in my sketchbooks, things that I might kind of keep working on as well. This is just, you can see like on the left I made a pocket with a little bit of nice paper, and then on the right again there's some more pastels, I think from that time in 2020, and a few little emblems, just little sketches here and there. Yeah, you can see also the tabs on the side that we'll get to, but I just enjoy like adding little extra things into the sketchbooks. So This is a page that I am again thinking about. I've been thinking about this for a while, putting a kind of a castle garden scene. So something that I really like to create, these kind of narrative paintings where you can make up you feel like you're kind of part of that scene and you can kind of create a story based around it. You know, are you walking through the garden? Are you visiting? Yeah, like, so anyway, this was just like a little part of that I'm thinking of, and it needs more work, but yeah, just thinking about that. So this is a page where I was thinking about this scene from a few videos ago. We went on a little plein air excursion, and you can see here the ducks, they swam through this like fireworks of the sun. It was so beautiful. And so I was just kind of thinking about that and how I could paint that and show that. And so there's actually a few different iterations of that painting and this kind of scene in this day, and I'll show these in their whole own video, possibly next week. But yeah, so really lovely. And so you can see here that I used silver ink. I also used some gold foil, and yeah, I wanted the scene to actually be more about the sparkles. And then the geese, when they were going through, it was very soft. They were kind of going into the background, so I wanted to think about that and just the beautiful colours. And then this page here, my favourite thing is the little emblem with kind of the little bit of the dove's wing pattern in it, in the bottom there. This was just another attempt. One day I really want to draw. We've had a few doves, and that just wild doves, but they kind of nest somewhere around the house. And I want to really one day paint one like on vellum in more of like a botanical illustration style. But yeah, that was just another little attempt. And then this is just a page where, so I'm not really ready to I haven't really figured this out yet, but this is just something that I'm working on. Yeah, I have a few different ideas of how I want to build layers and things like that. So anyway, that's just something I'm working on. But you can see that I always I'll staple in little color swatches that I've done. I think it's really nice to just add those things into your sketchbooks. This is a page from that other day that probably the third page, was it, where I went to Long Island. So this was the bridge that we went across, and yeah, I was just sketching out this, and this was when I realized I cannot draw cars. And when I say that, I think that we always have these times where we kind of think, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, I can't draw, something. And it's taken me a long time, but now when I say that, there's actually kind of a little addendum in my mind, and it is just the word yet. I can't draw it yet. So immediately I kind of say, oh, I can't draw that, and then it just goes straight onto my to-do list, like I need to work on cars. So yeah. This page here is, again, I'm not sure if it was that day, but there was just this little snippet of this kind of willow tree and this really pretty light sage tree that were next to a riverbank as we drove past. So I wanted to put that down, and then I also, you can see I put the like a kind of flourishes there, and then behind that I did kind of an Orbison rug inspired design as well. So I'm really still interested in kind of doing that and having these two different kind of parts of a scene in the one painting. This was, I think, the first time that I swatched out the pink watercolor palette there. So, and again, I was using those colors with this kind of idea of this landscape with the pond and the sky reflecting in it. And this palette sort of came together, and you can see, like I've written there, a palette of colors that I've longed to paint with. So I kept kind of thinking, oh, I wish I had this one, or I wish I had this color. And so I put them all in that palette, and it's been really enjoyable just to have those there on the desk. This here is the flower page that I was talking about when I showed those petals earlier. So this, I can't remember if I found this on Pinterest maybe, and there was a link there to this amazing video where the artist makes these incredible, really large scale, transparent kind of flowers. They're so beautiful. So I was just inspired by that and wanted to kind of work on that for a little bit. Or not necessarily to work on it, but like just to think about, to kind of think about someone else's process. It's quite nice. And yeah, then this page again, we have some of those pastels. These were the like the more neutrals and the sparkle ones, which I really liked. And then on the right page here, I've just done water and then dropped in colors to kind of make that emblem. And then I created this little table down the bottom. I really love tables, and like those vintage kind of tables. So yep, I just popped that in there. So this is another one of those pages where on the left is the watercolor paper and on the right is the cotton paper, like the thinner cotton paper. But you can see the rug there, and then this was a little kind of like an outdoor bed for Rosie when we went out on the patio. So I liked how it was kind of there that day, and I wanted to just kind of keep that. So I sketched it out in pastel, and then you can see this was from the actual day, so she'd just had a haircut. And you can see in the clip that I played before, like her hair's grown in quite a bit since then. So yeah, but I really liked this scene, and it was just a nice little moment. So I wanted to put that in, and and again, I've been trying to paint like more on location. So even though this is not leaving the house, I took my sketchbook in there and just kind of sketched out the rug and that little scene, and then put watercolor on, just with pastel pencils, and then put watercolor on the left side. So this is again some more of the collection of the paintings. And you can see, like, especially here, this is a color combo that I really want to use in a large scale painting. And so it's just nice to have these kind of little ideas and thoughts still of the colors and yeah, what was inspiring me at the time. Especially, like, I really want to keep building these and you know, thinking about it. So yeah, it's always nice to keep like a little reference, or, you know, work through things in your sketchbook. And again, this is that softer cotton paper, so it takes watercolor really well, but on the flip side of it, you don't want to, you know, it'll buckle if you do the other side. So you can see, like here, I've just used pastel pencil, I think, or just, might just be a Prismacolor, and just done the stripes there. And then on this side I did watercolor, and again I am thinking about landscapes and I'm thinking about color schemes. So I wanted to try something different here. You can kind of see more like the periwinkle blue, the lemon yellow, and the peaches, and the kind of emerald green. So again, just trying to kind of think of different times of day and just different ways that, you know, a nice way to kind of share that kind of a scene and that moment. So this was again another one from this day. This is the Long Island Sound. So there's like maybe 4 different pages that were inspired by this day. So that's a really nice thing to put into your sketchbooks as well. This one is just something that I have been thinking about. I really love the imagery of swans in a pond. And a few years ago we kind of found this little hidden pond, and there were these swans with little baby ones, and it was really lovely, but I didn't actually have my phone on me at the time, and yeah, I just always remember it. So this here is we went to the knitting shop. It's right on the Hudson River basically, like you just come down this one block and then you're at the Hudson River. So it's like just was this scene coming down this road, and you could kind of see the boats there in the harbour, and it was really lovely. So, and like there was the red car, again not being able to draw the cars but just going with the flow until further notice. Yeah, then this page here I didn't really finish, so I started kind of sketching in a horse, and I really wanted to kind of paint one of those dappled grey and white kind of horses, but yeah, I just figured that was enough work in this sketchbook. So, and also like because one page was the thin paper, so I thought I'll just save that for a different sketchbook. This is again 2 of those little paintings from the collection, and just still kind of thinking about those, keeping a couple of those in there. This page here, so again, like I'm always thinking about this kind of like emblems, painting things in the emblems, the rose bush in the emblem, and then garlands and ribbons, and then I did a couple of strawberries, just really quick kind of strawberry studies there as well. So on this page, this again was from that day we were coming back through New York, and kind of sitting at the lights there was this beautiful scene of the park, and so I was thinking about that and trying to paint. I'm thinking about different ways to kind of try and paint things. So I used masking fluid to try and preserve the highlights and try and paint over that, and it wasn't very successful here because I think it was a bit too gluggy to kind of get the shapes of the leaves in and get it as thin as I wanted. Like you can see here kind of the speckled nature of the leaves. Yeah, anyway, I don't know, this probably needs a little bit more thought. So yeah, but if you have a look at the last video, I did this a little bit more successfully in that video. I just did fewer leaves and more of kind of a leaf shape. So yeah, this page was again from 2020, not my favorite, but I do like some things about it. I like the color of the flower right up in the this top one in the corner there. I like the hydrangeas and the curve of this leaf here I really like. So yeah, this one here I was kind of thinking about, like, again, the Orbison pattern on rugs and just different. So I wanted to play around a little bit with yellow, with that teal color. And yeah, just thinking about, again, going a little bit outside my comfort zone with colours and, you know, trying some different things. So this is the last kind of white page on the journal, and then I have some like toned paper. And yeah, again, usually at the end I'll do like kind of some sort of swatching or just trying different things. And so here I was trying just a different technique with watercolors on the right, and then just trying some different colors there with some adding like some light blues and things in with the roses. On the left here, that is the last colors that I put out as the watercolors, and then on the right, that's the start of the toned paper. So I think by the time I had finished this journal, I didn't do as much with the toned paper as I had kind of thought. You'll see here, like there's just a little pastel sketch here, very quick, and then here I just did basically some color swatches over the top, so really nothing too exciting. And then I really did not like how these two pages kind of sit together. Like I prefer just that page, and then I don't really like these colors on the grey paper, but yeah. So and then this page here, this is kind of the last page where anything is on it, and I just wanted to write out this little sketchbook rules for you, so you can kind of see that, like, first of all, the sketchbook is just a place where I just will have fun. I'll explore things, I'll try things, and then number two is when I'm finished with the sketchbook, I'm just like, okay, that's it. I don't need to, be like, oh, I can't do this, or I didn't do this. And then the third thing is just only work on one thing at a time. So like I'll work on a color scheme, but I may not be working on form or sketching it out properly. So I'm okay if I like do something and then I'm like, oh, I couldn't do the cars or something. I'm like, okay, I'll work on that a different day. So yeah, I don't know, that might be helpful. So then this is the last page. This is kind of in the back pocket, and I've kind of got a little art gallery going on here. So some of the little pieces from that last sale, and then I actually created a couple more that I'm maybe like thinking to maybe frame these or put them up on the wall somewhere so I can keep thinking about this. So yeah. So you can see this was a really long sketchbook, a lot of pages, but I really loved it like that. It kind of gives you a chance to just really savor being with that sketchbook and creating in it. But I'm just showing you here so you can see the bottom paper is the softer paper, and then I put 2 sheets of the Saunders Waterford, and I folded those 3 pieces together to make one of the signatures. So what I do to fold this thicker kind of watercolor paper is I'll just get something. I usually use a crochet hook, a metal one, and I just score down. So you don't want to do it too hard that it's going through the other side. You just want to give it a little score, and then you can bend it. But I'll also do that to tear it. So I score it harder, and then I'll press it back and forth, and then until I'm able to tear it. And I'm just showing you here as well. So because I really enjoyed this sketchbook, I'm making another one. So this one's going to be a little bit larger than the last one. The last one's like an A5 size, about 8 by 6, and then, or maybe 9 by 6. And then this one is, so this one is 9.5 by 8. So it's a little bit larger than the last one. And again, it's going to have that kind of cover, and then it'll have the same kind of thing, so a softer piece with 2 watercolor pieces. So the softer piece is the heavyweight Somerset from Hollanders. But yeah, and you can see like I could barely even get 3 pieces out of one large sheet. So it's a little bit shorter, which I don't mind. I might add on a bit, or like add on a flap or something. Yeah. So this is kind of what the signatures looked like in the other one, and then I had about 8, I think, or yeah, something like that. So yeah, and then plus the toned ones as well. So this is something that I wanted to show. This up until now has been pretty much my favorite experience of a sketchbook. So this one I got from Barnes & Noble, and I think since I shared that on the channel, you can't get them anymore, so I can't really link it. But it had some really beautiful cotton paper inside, and this was kind of when I was beginning watercolor, and it was just, I just had like, you can see like on the left there, that was just paints from like Michael's. So I had just Winsor & Newton student grade paints. I had just a cheap set of iridescent paints from Michael's, and just like Martha Stewart and the folk art ones. You can see like this is an orchid that I just did the other week, and then in here, like this is one 10 years ago or something. So yeah, you might be able to hear Rosie walking around. Sit down, sit down. So yeah, it's very enjoyable to have, a nice sketchbook, and you know, you can use it in different ways. Like there might be a larger one or a smaller one that suits how you want to use it. It doesn't have to be like one that someone else is using. And so when I was creating things in this sketchbook, you know, this was long before YouTube. I wasn't creating these for any reason. I just really was enjoying it, and my supplies were not what they are now. Like they were very, very inexpensive supplies, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was really, really an enjoyable time to just kind of think about things. There was absolutely no pressure, and you can see like like a little herbarium there. Some of that was watercolor, some of that was acrylic, and it went even from, I think this journal started, or like this kind of sketchbook journal. I've kind of been doing sketchbook journals, I guess. It started in 2013 and went to like 2017. So again, you can see like quite a long time. And this one is also one that we made on the channel, and this is another one of my favorites. So again, I highly recommend making your own sketchbook, and I kind of do treat it like a journal sketchbook. You could see even in the sketchbook flip from today that some of it was memories and some of it was just based on things that I was thinking about painting. So and I really, really love kind of blending like a junk journal with a sketchbook. So I do have some paper packs, like printable paper packs in my shop that will kind of help you to build one of these as well. I really love these. So, and I think I took them out of my shop, but I'll pop them back in. Yeah, so you can kind of have a look at those. I'll link that below. But yeah, these are just my favorite, and that kind of gives you a little starting point. Like you'll see something on a page, and then you can kind of try and either build on it or copy it. Yeah, so So again, this is another one of my favorite sketchbooks. This is an old one as well, and maybe from 2016 or somewhere around there. But you can see like I embroidered their little medallion on the front, And I have a lot of like extra elements in here, which I also really love. And at this time I was working quite a bit on frames and like the emblems, and I was finding, like I was looking up old French seals and sort of copying those and starting to try and figure out like the different ways that they would scroll things and the ornate ways that they would just layer things. So yeah, you can see like there's beadwork and there's paper flowers, and there's a lot of different things that can be incorporated into your sketchbooks and into your art. I really love paper as well, like different kinds of paper, and so I would like put that in there, and again like just different frames that I would see. This is, I think, where I started getting the Winsor & Newton gold ink, and yeah, you can see like the little paper sample pages there that I made. I love those, like different wrapping papers, or like different, yeah, just all kinds of different papers. So like embroidered papers and embossed papers and stamped papers and foiled papers and vellum. And you could also do something like this if you do crochet or knitting. You could add those in there, so, or make like a little pouch for your sketchbook as well. This is the last one I'm going to show you as well. These were heavily inspired by Dispatch from LA, if you've heard of her, or Pam Garrison. I think that they both have really nice like tutorials you can take as well for how to make these kind of books. So, but I think the video is about to wrap up. What did I want to just say? This is another favorite. I haven't even used the inside of it, but I love the color of the paper. It's a little bit, it doesn't really show here, but it's kind of a little bit apricot. And yeah. So also this video was really long, so I didn't add the art book into the video. I'm gonna put that in a separate video, so I'll put that one up on Saturday, and there may be a little shop update of just a couple of colors and things that I couldn't get done for the last update, so it won't be a big one. But yeah, you can see here, this is the party. So we had a pretty full-on baking day. These were orange cardamom cakes with some orange like icing, and then we also made like pomegranate syrup for them. We made rosewater meringues, a rosewater meringue with I don't know, it was a lot. So, but it was really fun. And yes, you can see that we were trying to take the meringue off. We've actually gotten a lot better. That was kind of our worst attempt for a while, and as we tried to pull it off the tray, it all crumbled, so we just decorated it on the tray and then just served it on the tray. But I put just like 4 strawberries, I think, in the cream, and it just made it this really nice pale pink. It was really lovely. Yeah, so I hope you guys have had a lovely week as well. I will see you. You can see here the pomegranate syrup, and I loved the color combo there, like the dark and the, I love this. But yeah, I think there might have been something else. So yeah, will be hopefully a little shop update on Saturday, and the class is coming along. Once you see how much work is on the actual class and on the website, I think you'll understand why it's taken so long. But I really want it to be like a well-rounded and informative class, so that like by the end of it you really will feel like you can paint quite a lot of things. So I hope that you'll enjoy that as well. But yeah, I will see you guys on Saturday. Bye.